Hey everybody, welcome back inside the stash. So we've gotten our month of Hobby Link Japan goodness, and so we're gonna take a quick look at what has come in on this box, if you will, from the fine folks at Hobby Link Japan. I'm gonna spin the camera that way, so I'm not holding things in front of my face, and we'll be right back. All right, first up, we're gonna start with the biggest thing in this box, and that is this big crate from Fujimi. This is the Toyota collection here. These are specifically Mark II Toyotas. We've seen this. They did this with that successive Skyline series, which I did not purchase because I already had the two Skylines that they were offering as far as the R32 and the R33 went. And then just their R34 is not enough of a kit for me to purchase. I have one. This is a little specialty version, but as a general rule, the Tamiya kit obviously is way better. In this you get the 4th, 5th, and 6th generation Mark IIs, which run you from the early 1980s into the very early 1990s, possibly the late 1980s. I have to look exactly when the GX81 chassis ran. This does come with the kit with the engine. As far as the GX71 goes, it is the high mecha version. I don't know why that's not focusing. It's kind of annoying. There it goes. So it does come with the high mecha version of the GX71, which means that I have two of these now. Stay tuned. I don't know what we're gonna do with it, but I don't need two. I'm gonna get rid of one of them. Primarily, I bought this for the GX81 version. The GX61 version it's designed to be like slammed and low-rided, if you will, or just stanced in a very low fashion. It has the axle in the back that's designed to fit with a rubber boot in the middle, so you get two like half axle shafts, and then a rubber boot in the middle, and that allows the axle basically to pivot upwards in the middle, and how you get the stance in this back wheel. This, as far as how these are packaged in here, because it is a fairly steep box, right? These are just bags in here. The GX81 is in here loose. Like everything's bagged, but it's in here loose. Where let me slide the top off here, maybe. Of course, I get that. I already opened this once, but I don't remember the box top being that hard to open, but be that as it may. The GX81 is in here, like I said, it's just pieces. Here's the body, here's your chassis pieces, and the parts of the interior. So this is all in here kind of loosely, and just, hey, how's it going? Good to see you, kind of thing. And then the subsequent kits after that are bagged together. Like this is the GX71. So everything is bagged into this bag all as one, to sort of keep it separated, so at least you know what you're working with. That's an interesting way to go about things, I guess. I mean, I don't know why the GX81 isn't bagged into its own bag with its own instructions. The instructions are just free floating around in this giant box. But be that as it may. As I said, the GX61 is a shelf model. It's an old motorized kit. It's not really designed to be built factory stock in any way, shape, or form, but they do include a solid rear axle, so you don't have to slamber the back axle like that. And that'll be what I go for. It only comes with this wheel. There are no wheel options in this kit. This kit only comes with this wheels. This kit only comes with this wheels, and this kit only comes with these wheels. And I guess it is what it is. I was interested to see how they were going to do these in terms of shipping them, because like this is what we showed you. We talked about this kit on the stash report, was like this sticker that's on the top here. Like I said, I was very interested to see how this was going to actually show up. If it was going to be 3 individual boxes in here, or what the deal was going to be. And it turns out it's just a bunch of bag kits. If you hear my new puppy, which is not that new, it's about 4 weeks we've had this thing, almost a month now. She needs a bark collar in the worst way, and so if you hear howling in the background, just Pay no attention to it. She just doesn't want to be in her kennel. That doesn't have anything to do with her being like abused or anything. So let's move on to other things, shall we? Up first, in the regular box stuff here, we have the Aoshima Pandora Copen Type 887 Evo 2. This camera is just slightly crooked and it's driving me crazy. There we go. Remount the tripod there. So, obviously not your factory stock Copen kit. This is the one we talked about a few weeks ago that has all of the Porsche livery pieces for the doors and things like that, because it does have a very 911 front end to it. It's kind of interesting. In real life, these doors are Lamborghini hinged. Obviously, they're just hanging out as far as this kit goes. Here's photos of the boat model on the side there. And so I'm kind of just, I'm not a real big tuner person to begin with. This is almost like a VIP Pandora as far as the wheel sizes and stuff like that go. But, it was one of those kits that always sort of appealed to me for some reason. And so when they decided they were going to reissue this, I grabbed one, because why not? You never have too many Daihatsus, right? Somebody out there's going, what? The who? Daihatsu. Picked this reissue up. It is the one Countach that I have sort of missing out of my collection. This, of course, is the Fujimi Lamborghini 25th Anniversary Edition. This is, like we talked about, the reissue of the Enthusiast Series kit. I don't know. Not really to talk about here. There's a little decal sheet preview on the side there. It gives you some Japanese decals. But this is the Enthusiast Series kit. If I can grab the right parts tree. The right parts tree. Because there's a whole bunch of parts trees. I mean, it's an Enthusiast Series kit. So there's a gajillion items. I mean, here's parts of the engine right there. And here's the rest of it right here. So this is the full detail, there's another engine parts tree. Full detail kit that they just decided to reissue. I had for a while been like, I really need to get, I don't know if I need to get one. Maybe I'll get one. And I sort of hemmed and hawed around with it the last time it was reissued, right through the ability to purchase it. So. And here's your body, which has the Testarossa. They call it the Lamborghini Testarossa. Has the Testarossa strakes and the modified engine cover and things like that. And then almost dropped the chrome tree. Here's your wheels. See, they mount like via lug nuts and center lock and a hub, just like the real car does. Because of the Enthusiast Series. That's what a lot of this comes down to. You start talking about, why does this have so many parts? I don't know, Enthusiast Series. Why do all the Enthusiast Series have so many parts? We finally picked this one up. This kit was issued back in January, which was right when I didn't have any gainful employment. So here is the SOK Sogo Security BMW 318i. This represents a 1994 JTCC car. It has the modified suspension pieces that they started doing in 2016 for the reissue of those kits. This was the one livery that they had done in the past that they had not reissued yet. So happy to have this. You paint the car white decals, do everything else. While we're talking about limited edition reissues of older JTCC cars, there's also this, which is the Object T Trampio Landmark Corolla. This is quite the decal sheet in this. I'll show you here in a second. This is from the 1992 Japanese Touring Car Championship. I want to say this is like Division B or Division 2 or whatever they called it, for the lighter cars with the smaller displacements. Because at the time, they would be going up against things like the Ford Sierra and the BMW M3. Obviously not necessarily fair to have a Corolla go up against, those things. But here's your decal sheet. As you can see, the entire sides of the cars are one big decal piece. That might be a little interesting to deal with. You have a giant hood or giant roof piece, a giant rear 3/4 piece that's going to wrap around on the trunk. If it all fits and the decals aren't crap, it'll be kind of interesting. This right here obviously builds up the whole blue parts of the front end. I may, as much as I sort of dread the idea of trying to do all those decals, I might also try to do this kit a little earlier in the sequence than the other ones, because it is a very, very complex decal package, and you know, I'd rather not fight with it with older decals. The only thing you do with this, as far as this kit goes, is you paint this little valance down here a dark blue that doesn't match this the decals, because in the real car it's not the same color. I would think it would almost be easier to paint the back half of this car red than it would be to apply all those decals on here, and maybe something I look at as time goes along, but that would be the other JTCC car from this haul. And then we have this, which is the recent reissue, and we're going to peek it onto the corner here because it's in landscape mode, because why not? Because Hasegawa. This is the TWR Sports street car. So this has a lot of the front bodywork, side bodywork. The engine was tuned, but I don't believe there are actually any parts in here to represent that. I think it's just the same engine that's in all 4 of them, because the engine that's in the race car kit technically isn't correct for the race car kit. And you know, on the side here, like most Hasegawa kits, you have a picture of the built-up construction. You can build this either as a right-hand drive or a left-hand drive car. It is one of only 2 of the civilian cars that have left-hand drive. The convertible is the other one. The coupe, the original V12, does not. It's British spec only. Put some things away so I can get other things here. We picked up 2 of the new, one of these is new, one of them came out back in, I think, February. But we didn't pick it up for the same reason, no money. Of the modeler's resin kits, this one here is for the 2014 Motul Autek Super GT kit. This was the championship car for 2014. So if you wanted to build the top tier level kit, this would be the way to go about it. These resin kits aren't quite as finessed as the street cars are. That's at least my initial impression of these. Here's your basically your paint and decal layout. And because this is folded backwards because it wasn't folded properly to begin with, and then here's basically telling you where to apply some photo etch and how to build the interior is up here. I really don't want to take this out of here. I'm just going to sort of tilt it up and work with it as best as I can. This piece right here, which is sort of like free-floating, is actually the back deck, and it slides into a groove up here, and then the actual interior paint is down below. But you'll notice that, like, they didn't cast the slicks in black like they do with the street cars. There are some hefty mounting bosses on the back of these wheels, to the point where I can't, like, show you how the wheel mounts to the tire because there's so much interference back here, the wheel won't fit into the tire, which is like, okay, it's resin, whatever, I don't mind that necessarily. You know, I'd rather clean it up. There's a certain part of me that would rather clean it up myself and you know, have the correct diameter rather than having it clean up for me, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to show you guys, hey, look how this fits when it doesn't fit at all. These clear headlights almost are, you know, not as clear as the street car. I mean, I have the 2017 GTR, and the headlights for it are a great deal more, you know, are a great deal more optically clear, I guess would be the way to put it. Everything else is, you know, is well detailed. It's the actual kit itself in terms of what it looks like and how it fits together, and there's nothing about that is bad, but it just seems like these were not rushed, but just sort of chucked out a little less concern, I guess would be the best way to put it, compared to the, like I said, the street cars. I can get that to balance and not fall down. Like, you know, here's the windows, and they are, you know, pre-cut, but they're not separate. They're still like locked into the sheet. I think now I look at this, it may just be encased in one big piece of plastic as far as a wrap goes around it. But there's your side windows for it. There's a very small sheet of photo etch here that makes up mostly the front dive planes and a few other pieces. And then you have a very large sheet of decals for this. The general idea here is that you paint the car silver, and the decals will do everything else in terms of the red parts and pieces. It does seem like they've cut them pretty well as far as getting them to fit. The front, this is the front hood decal, and it's obviously cut for all of those various little indentations on the hood itself. You get a little couple of decals here, a little carbon fiber for the roof. This is flipped over backwards, but this is a bunch of chrome-plated, like, Nissan decals. So, all in all, it's a very nice kit. It just has that little bit of, I don't know, they just expect race car guys, because we're a little more fanatical about what we do, to be willing to do a little bit of extra work on the resin, I guess. I don't know. It's nothing that it would keep me from buying the next two that are going to come out this fall, but at the same time, it's a little bit of a meh. I could have done without that. And then we picked up the newer release, which is the Calsonic version of that kit. Basically, the only difference between these two kits, other than obviously the livery, is the wheels are different. These are 2014 series. I know a lot of people would rather have them be the new ones, but it is what it is. They're just sort of like glancing at this stuff. The resin in here is exactly the same. As far as the cleanup goes, the headlights are the same, but they're not quite as optically clear as the road cars are. The wheels obviously still in that black. We have to see if that's something that gets complained about enough that it gets changed. But the body is basically the same. Everything, like I said, fits together pretty well. I'm gonna take this out of here for half a second. Show you guys the rest of what's in here. You have, of course, the instructions, which are effectively the exact same instructions, just with different decal layout. And the parts in here are exactly the same windows, the same fret of photo etch. And then here are your Calsonic decals. This has this piece flipped over correctly, so I wanted to show you this. This is your logos for your Nismo and your GTR and stuff like that. And then, there's not a whole lot going on with the decals on this car. Calsonic livery's always been pretty simple in terms of what it is. It's just some words, basically, and some numbers. So, there's a few bits and pieces here, irony of the Tamiya decal and things like that, for another manufacturer to be making it. But I wanted to, just for the sake of showing you guys, assuming I can get this apart without too many issues. I don't want to lose anything, because when these things got shipped to me, the modal one was upside down, and all the parts came out of the tree, and I had to spend half the day hunting through all of these little parts reservoirs trying to find the other pieces. But here's your body. Like I said, I think it's a pretty good approximation of a 2014 GTR Super GT car. Like I said, this little piece here ends up going up inside the body. Get this in here, like so, to make the back parcel deck, basically. The fitting in here is kind of iffy. Again, that doesn't have quite the finesse of cleanup that the street car does. You have your interior tub, which is really very much a tub. There's not a lot going on in these cars in real life as far as the room goes inside. And then you have your bottom plate here. I don't know why I keep showing things that are off screen. Sorry, guys. But that fits in here. Not particularly well, actually, because there are pore stubs and things in the way, but that'll give you an idea how the back strakes sit, which, again, is not quite right, because I'm put some pressure to it. There you go. Now it's level. This one, like I said, there's some interesting debris going on here in the front splitter. This is like not quite properly cast all the way. A lot of this inner fender well stuff. It's kind of probably hard to see because it doesn't want to focus, but this inner fender well and bottom of the car is awful rough. There's a little issue with the bottom of the kit there. It just seems to be that they rushed these out a little bit, or just didn't quite take the same time and care they do with the other ones. I mean, you're going to have to fill that with something just so there aren't gaping holes in the bottom of the front spoiler. But again, when it's sitting, on your shelf, it's going to look like that, and you're not going to see it per se, but just not quite the same amount. I mean, then this one over here, this poor stub that didn't quite through, almost. I mean, you're gonna have to fill it with something because you can see through it. I don't know how well that's going to show up. I mean, it's see-through. It's so thin, so you got to be careful there. Overall, again, not bad. Just a little, like I said, a little on the shade of disappointing because we've come to expect a certain level of quality out of these kits, and this one doesn't necessarily have it. As far as this goes, it's an interlocking deal where this just sort of fits on here. So, I mean, that fits. So that's all good and whatnot. The spoiler does, at least I didn't test this car, I tested the other one, does fit. Let me take a peek here. It fits, but it doesn't want to stay up. The modal one stayed up without me holding it in, but it fits, and it does everything it's supposed to do as far as the spoiler goes. Boy, that dog is pissed off. I'll teach her. Actually, I'm not putting her in there for any punishment. She just needs to be in there right now because I'm down here. And she chews up the world. This is your front piece that goes in there like that. So that fits pretty well. I haven't really tested out any of the fit of this roll caging, which has some pretty gnarly pore stubs on the top there. Obviously, those have to be trimmed off, but it should be all right, I would assume. I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. Let me try these wheels, see if they fit on this kit any better than they did on the other one. There are some pore stub issues in the back here, so this may not fit. Should have tested this prior to getting it on camera, right? It fits well enough. Actually, it fits well enough except the fact that it doesn't actually, the wheel doesn't actually fit the diameter of the tire. There's a wobbly issue with this. So you got to try to center that, and then either epoxy it or super glue it in, and that rim is not exactly round, I noticed, but we can sit here and we can nitpick it apart all day long. The fact of the matter is it's what came, right? It's too late to complain about it now. And I really don't have any necessary complaints with it. It's just, like I said, if you have any of the streetcar kits, or you follow along with the streetcar kits as I show them to you, you know that the streetcar kits are really, 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 really nice. Like, styrene level of goodness, and this just are not, and it's unfortunate. But what can you do? So last up on this video is this. This is, of course, the brand new modified reissue of the BMW M3, this time in its tarmac rally spec. So you get a bunch of new parts with this, obviously. You get the new front bumper and front lip spoiler, the shorter Group A rear spoiler. You get, of course, the new wheels. This does come with slicks. Something I mentioned in the stash report on the video. I still haven't looked it up because I haven't done the research on this build yet. But it still doesn't seem like this should have slicks. Seems like it should have treaded tires. But maybe it does have slicks in real life. I can't speak enough expertise, if you will, about this to tell you what you should or shouldn't expect. So the decal thing is a little bit of an interesting thing in this kit, and we'll get to in a second. We do want to show you the new stuff. This bag has part one of the new runners. They've retooled the front grille. I don't think that was necessarily a thing they had to do, but maybe it does with the way it fits together. You have a new hood with a 3-pin hood compared to the 2-pin hood that's on the DTM car. You have the new rear bumper, rather, which may or may not represent exactly the bumper that's in the actual kit, the DTM kit. But this obviously has a hole for the tow hook. You see back here you have a runner with 2 seats. Obviously you got a passenger seat in a rally car. And then this, here are your new wheels. course, I want to show through the plastic very well, but good lord, that dog. Bark collar is on the way, in case anybody cares. And then here you have the new Group A style front bumper, which doesn't have a great big Evo lip spoiler. The lip spoiler that does go on the Group A car, the Group A shorter rear spoiler, some new, I believe these are front brakes, this little piddly exhaust, which is the side exit exhaust that are on the rally cars. The rally cars do not run a full exhaust the way the excuse me, the way the DTM cars goes. You see you have your new suspension uprights back here, which of course raise the ride height up to an appropriate rally height. You have a rally timer computer in here. You have plastic injection roof vents, the new mirrors, and then here are your oops, so I was completely off the thing here. Here are your new mirrors, your roof vents, and then these are of course your rally tow hooks that are in here. And then pretty much after that, everything else in this kit is identical to the actual DTM car. You do get some photo etch in the kit without buying extra, and these are going to be for the rally license plates and the rally tag. Up here, your Tour de Course rally tag that will go on the I believe it goes on the trunk of this car. Or it may go on the hood. I'd have to go look at how that all fits together. So let me get this crinkly bit back together again to show you the little... I'm not sure how long this video's been going, but she's been going for longer than this video's been recording. She's persistent, I'll give her that. So here's your decal layout, the typical B-Max full color photo. You notice there are arrows pointing to where there are blank spaces. Those are not to tell you where to put other decals. Those are to tell you to put these red pieces in here. This is a typical B-Max kit in that you paint the vehicle white and the decals do everything else. I don't know. It's always one of those things where you start getting into this much decaling where you start wondering if it wouldn't just be easier to just paint the car red and white and be done with it. You do get options for two different sets of drivers here. I'd have to do the research to see who is what and where. This back here is what I was talking about with the rally plate being mounted to the back bumper. So that's what that photo etch piece is for. And then it has photo etch backers for the license plate up front. This larger piece up here, which doesn't have an actual decal attached to it, and the way this shows up. So yeah, that is sort of it is what it is kind of deal up front. And then you get into the instruction set. And if you've ever seen one of these never seen one of these B-Max instruction sets, they have the detail upset sort of integrated into the instruction sheet rather than it being a separate instruction sheet that comes with the the actual photo etch set. So at the very beginning of this decal, of this instruction sheet, you'll notice that there's this little layout going on. And what this is telling you to do is put decals on the car that are not labeled in any way other than just being F plus I, K plus L, and okay. So this is something, and we talked about this in this dashboard, you have to buy the detail upset for. You have to. It doesn't come any other way right now. And that is this is the detail upset. There should be like a hanger up here that tells you what it is, but I had to take it off in order to open it. This closure is up here. Basically, they put everything in the bag upside down and then stapled it up here. Mainly, probably because so people wouldn't steal the contents out, because usually it's folded down here on the bottom, and the stapling up here is neither hide nor hair to it. So what you get out of this, of course, is you get the air jack intake, or actually that may be the bottom of the antenna. You get the antenna, and you get a 1.5 miles of ribbon for the various harnesses because you of course have to make 2 racing harnesses in this as well. And then you have the actual, I might as well just open this. I'm going to open it anyway. Take the photo etch sheet out. I'm going to do put this over here. And take out this photo etch fret. So there's your photo etch sheet. It comes with some bend them yourself, but it'll look a lot better, I think. Roof vents, you notice they've got like a mesh quality to them. That the plastic parts don't even have a piece for. I suppose you could, if nothing else, you could bust this mesh off and install it into the plastic parts. You have your brake rotor faces as usual. These are sort of half and half. You basically fold them into, into one. Tow hook replacements. I don't necessarily know that I would use these. I need to look at photos of the real car because this is just something I was talking to a friend about. You end up with these situations where this three-dimensionally is less appealing than the plastic part is because it's so thin and it's almost two-dimensional in its proportions. And then you have similar ones for the front. You have, of course, your photo etch wiper blades that I don't think anybody ever uses. You have a vent back here, or a grill back here, and then a few other little bits and pieces of a new fuel filler cap, and then all this up here, of course, is all your seatbelt hardware. And what is nice about this, it's sort of double-sided because there's a protective coating here on the front, right, that sort of keeps you from scratching it up. There, you'll notice there's also the blue one on the back here. You also notice that there are no fret attachment points, right? So this is one of these adhesive based photo etch sheets that you're seeing more and more of these days, where everything on here is just attached to this blue adhesive on the back. So you have no more cutting this out of the photo etch fret itself, and there are no more burrs and photo etch little shivs. You grab some of these things that are really, really sharp sometimes when you take them off photo etch sheets. No more of those. So these just are, floating on there. Obviously, the danger is that you could bend things trying to peel it off this adhesive, but it's sort of a 6 1 1/2 dozen the other kind of pick your poison. And then you guys probably saw it hiding in the background there, but inside the photo etch fret is this. This is obviously a very chopped up, albeit complete, version of the Bastos cigarette livery that belongs on this car. So you can only get this by buying the photo etch, until somebody else, of course, makes a replacement set. What is a couple of things that are nice about this decal set is it does, underneath the S and the T on both of these, includes the door handle, so you don't have to paint the door handle black and try to worry about getting the decal to fit over top of it. The decal is designed to fit over top of it. All of these little Bastos livery, the actual logos, you have to put the little club into. The only difference, the thing I see about this that I would do as far as applying these goes, you notice there's a clear carrier film that goes all the way across that decal. And then this right here, this is the part that goes into here, is also all clear carrier film, including the little club thing at the end there. If I put this on the kit this way with all this carrier film on it, that might be acceptable, but I'm not going to double the carrier film. So I would cut out this A, this O, and this club individually and then put them in here. Or I would cut the B and the S off the end of this so that you're losing all this carrier film in the middle. Well, it almost necessitates, although not quite, the cutting apart of the letters even more, because that's a lot of like here's the example for the other side. A lot of carrier film to be trying to deal with. You'd have to decal this and then clear coat it, or else I think the carrier film would look a little bit kind of interesting that the seatbelt decals are on here. Whatever, I'm not sure why they're on here. I think there's some decals. There are seatbelt decals on the decal sheet itself. Maybe these are specific ones, but you do get the Bastos liveries for both sides. The Bastos livery for the roof. The Bastos livery for the hood. There's these tiny. Let's see, where are they? These tiny little logos, and even smaller little clubs that are so adorably cute that go on the edge of the wing. Well, they're not winglets on the style of spoiler. They go on the very edge of the spoiler. And then you have this piece right here, which is the front license plate Bastos livery, and then there's like one on the roof, and basically the white ones go where the car is red, and the red ones always go where the car is white. But that, guys, wraps up our mercifully, because oh my god, the dog. I don't know how well it'll come through, because obviously I'm recording this and not listening back to it. I may just be commenting on something that you guys can't hear, but I don't know how you can't hear that, because you can hear the dryer buzz in the background. That's a lot less noisy. mercifully, so that I can go put that dog out of its misery. I'm going to throw it outside, let it go get the stink blown off it. That's it for this video. So hope you enjoyed it. I hope you guys maybe got some insight into some kits you were looking into. And we'll see you guys on the other side.